All right, guys, what's cracking? Hope everyone's doing well. It's our second live stream of the day, Monday afternoon, 1 p.m., November 3rd, Monday here in Australia. Americans, it's still your Sunday. We have a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. The first live stream of the day we covered this past weekend. I'll leave the door open still if you guys want to talk about that. I'm going to take the first few minutes to discuss some things that you see on the screen. I have to address this. I was asked, I probably got 20 DMs about this exact thing from the time I went to bed till right now. I don't break down MMA fights anymore on my YouTube channel, but I've been an OG to the MMA game since Jump. I mean, you guys watch my content, you know that. In our Discord, we have an MMA thread. And so, with that being said, big RSU, latest YouTube member, Johnny says VIP member. He just signed up right now. Guys, it's a couple bucks a month. He's our latest member in the Discord. So, if you boys are here and you're in the Discord, say what's up to Big RSU. And, guys, if you want to join, this is how you do it. It's a couple bucks a month. Click that link for more details, and we're going to get this thing going. Wherever you are, as you're walking in, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, like this video. So yeah, I'm going to just take a couple minutes to address this. It's a developing story, so we're going to talk a little bit about the allegations. If you watched the UFC last night, there was the fight. There's a couple fights in question: the Bulgarian fight, and then the Onama fight. And the Onama fight is flying under the radar. The Onama fight is the main event. He fought Steve Garcia. I mean, I'll show you real quick. We'll cover all this. So, I mean, I took Acosta. The Acosta fight was a bit wishy-washy considering the eye poke. And all week, I told you guys, Steve Garcia, I mean, I liked him regardless, but I thought that was going to be a fire fight. If you watch as much UFC as me, you would know Onama. You know he doesn't have a perfect record, but you know the dude is athletic. He's skilled. He's tough as nails. You watch that Mason Jones fight. That's really the only fight you have to watch to really understand what this kid is capable of. And when you're watching him walk out, when you're watching the fight, him getting called to the octagon against Garcia last night, he just looked off. And this is before I found out about Bulgarian. This is before I found out about the sport. How about you boys in America? The sports book paid you guys. We didn't get paid. I guess the betting apps in America refunded people. We definitely didn't get refunded for the Bulgarian fight. So the Bulgarian fight is the fight in question. Anyway, to put Onama looked like somebody stole his dog. Before the fight even started, Onama reminded me of the movie Space Jam, the OG Space Jam with Michael Jordan, and how like Sean Bradley, Charles Barkley, Muggsy Bogues, their whole spirit was stolen, and they were just, "Hello, how are you?" This is what Onama looked like. It was shocking to see, and then he gets stopped early, and the first thing I thought was like, "Hold up, this does not look right." 20 minutes after the card ends, I get word about this, about Bulgarian. Now, if you want to play conspiracy theory, the facts are this. We know what happened with James Krause. If you guys are unaware, I did a whole, when the James Krause story broke a couple years ago, I was doing investigative reporting on my YouTube channel. I had a whole James Krause playlist, and this was Glory MMA. At one time, these guys like Kansas City, Missouri, dude. These guys were producing like UFC fighter after UFC fighter. James Krause was highly reputed. People looked up to the guy. He had a decent pro career, and he was kind of making a little bit of a late renaissance run as well. He was taking fights on short notice. He was a guy who was an astute mind in the game. And what was coming out, the allegations were that they were going into fights knowing that fighters were injured or having insider information. And then he had a Discord, and he put the Discord behind a paywall, and he was sharing all this insider information with all the boys in his Discord. And then the feds, the gambling, Vegas, the casinos picked up on this. And that one specific fight, Minner, the fight that blew the doors open was the Minner fight. And that's when Krause gets kicked out, Minner gets kicked out, a bunch. Glory MMA is no more. But the funny thing about all that was years ago, and Bulgarian comes from that camp, and so does Onama. Both of those guys came from that same gym. So it's just a weird thing. to kind of see happening. And it, like I said, it's a developing story. And the feds, this is crazy. So this guy Harry Mack on Twitter is reporting, and this is being shared by multiple sources, is that the feds are investigating. So we'll see what happens. You guys asked me to bring it up. Ask and thou shalt receive. And if you don't have any questions on about that, we can move on. That's about 5 minutes. That's all I really wanted to talk about it. I'll cover it more and more as the week goes on. Bing in the house, what's crack a lacking. Let's we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot of boxing to talk about. There's a lot of boxing to talk about, boys. There's Australian fights. My girl. So I got what I don't want to say my upset of the week, but Jazzy Parr is taking on. Give me a second. She's my friend. My mind's going blank. By this time today, guys, if you would have watched my first live stream, that was 6 hours ago. Since then, I've coached 6 people. I've run to the, had to go to a business meeting. I've written like an article. My brain is fried by now. 1:15 p.m. on a Monday. Brain's fried. May Solomon. So the odds here, May Solomon. The money's coming in on Jazzy Parr. The best thing about this fight is that it's not in Sydney and it's not in Queensland, because the judges favor Jazzy, the promotional companies favor Jazzy. At this point, I don't. I like May Solomon here. It's not my official pick, but May, Egyptian Australian fighter, volume. She's a little bit older. She's tough. She's gonna be a little bit more green. It's not my exact prediction at this point. Jazzy's still young in her development. She was a Muay Thai fighter initially. She's the daughter of John Wayne Parr. Everybody, you should know who Jasmine Parr is. In terms of the domestic scene down here. Her mother, Angie Fernandez. Her mother is probably the best North American female kickboxer ever. So Jazzy Parr comes from good stock. Google Angie Fernandez. Angie Fernandez. I watched Angie Fernandez fight live at the Long Beach Pyramid, I think in 2005, something like that. And so when you take one of the greatest white Muay Thai fighters of all time, I mean, you have Ramon Deckers is probably the GOAT. And then, I mean, Giorgio Petrosyan, he was more of a kickboxer base. The Doctor Petrosyan is probably my all-time favorite sort of kickboxer. But John Wayne Parr made his style. He basically, when you look at the Thai style usually taps, hit, taps, hit. John Wayne Parr kind of adopted this really gnarly, aggressive style, kind of like a Ramon Decker style. The Thais aren't really known for having heavy hands. They're usually known for just tapping a bit. Deckers and Parr, dude, them boys used to crack. Anyway, that's Jazzy's dad and that's Jazzy's mom. So she comes from good stock. We'll see. She's been put in there with a lot of sort of, she's had litmus tests. Like she fought Shotgun Shannon. Shannon O'Connell, legit. Shannon O'Connell's legit. A lot of people say Jazzy lost that fight. So if you guys were to tape Jazzy, watch the Shannon O'Connell fight. And May Solomon, I'm going to find some more tape. I'm going to message her. I'm going to talk to some of the people locally before I make my official prediction. I've already put the birds out. You guys know these Aussie cards. Because I'm in Sydney, I got people in certain camps. Send some messages out. I'll get some answers by tomorrow. I'll start relaying the information in the Discord. I got you. Yeah, Paul Fleming's my guy. Paul fought 4 weeks ago. So Fleming fought an exhibition against Billy Dibb to kind of get the waters right, test the waters. He's fighting Jake Wiley. People sleep on Paul Fleming, mate. Paul Fleming, his only slip up was a decision. He got stopped against Charlie Suarez late in a fight that he was winning. Paul Fleming, I think, is one loss, and that was to Suarez. And we know how classy Suarez is. Shame that Suarez never got that Navarrete rematch. But Paul Fleming's legit. If we get a rested, fresh, healthy, motivated Paul Fleming, I'm jumping on Fleming every day. He should be Jake Wiley 9 out of 10 times. Bing. David Eister. Lubin's going to lose to Ortiz. Julius Boots knockout puts pressure on Ortiz. Fulgham versus Stevens. Okay. Yeah, I heard some of the boys. I'm not high. I'm not high on Darius Fulgham. We picked Bekdamir in that last fight. We won money on Beck. I got to look more into Stevens, and we can look at the odds real quick. I think Darius is a bit too predictable his offensive game is very basic in how he approaches, the offense. He's aggressive, but he doesn't hide a lot of things. And with a visceral fighter, a guy who could pick up on these things, you could read him early. Now he's still pretty young in his development, and I expect him to have leveled up. I got to check. What does he fight? David Stevens. David Stevens. Wow, I think those odds are off. I don't think Stevens should be a 4-1 dog. Maybe 2-1. 4-1's insane. We'll break this fight down. We'll break this fight down. I'm not, like I said. Right now the upset. If we're gonna start hunting real quick, we can do a quick. We'll do a rundown real quick. Do a little bit of a hunt. Our upset dog of the week. You guys know how we do it out here. Um, Solomon at $3. I mean, give me a couple days on that one. If you guys have never watched Munir Fati is a fun fighter. This is a really good fight, Fati versus Hunt. I actually love this card, this Australian card. I don't expect you guys internationally to know all these names, but the best part about this card, I said it in the first live stream, is that it's not a no-limit card, meaning that these are going to be close matchups. Just look at the odds. You guys are probably thinking, wow, $3, $1.45, $1.31, $3.80, $2.95, $1.47. You sure this is an Australian card? Usually aren't the Aussie cards 14-1 and 38-1? And yeah, but that's no limit. This is this might be a Wanderer Promotions. I'd have to double check. Pardon me for not knowing that off jump. Let me go to May Solomon's Instagram real quick. May's a beast, man. I got to make sure that I bet with my wallet though and not with my heart, because I know May, and she trains her freaking ass off. And so I just got to be sure that I don't pick May just because I'm cheering for May, personally. It's on to Zone. Sam Labruna. So it's Sam Labruna Promotions, and these are good matchups. These are gonna be fun fights, guys. And it's on to Zone. So we not only get to break tape down, you guys get to introduce yourself to some domestic Aussies, and we get to put a little action on it, and we get to watch it on DAZN, and we get to roll over our winnings onto the weekend with the other cards. Bing, yeah, those are in Melbourne. I'm just catching up to you guys with these comments, so be patient with me. The daylight savings was great. Yeah, we had it 2 weeks ago, Julius. Makey Crazy Jazzy fought Shannon Connell. Yep. Solomon got a VD versus nobody. Just watch the tape, mate. Right now, I'm leaning David Stevens, not my official pick yet. Yeah, David Stevens got some class to him. Fleming paid for that fight himself and got a knockout. And got knocked out. You think DFG is a weight bully? I heard that he is. I don't... Mankey, do you think DFG is a weight? He's a big boy. I mean, I don't really understand this... I don't understand the outcome. Guys, from a logistics perspective, somebody who's into analytics, somebody who's into problem solving. So problem solving not just with mathematics or statistics, but problem solving with the creative process, getting a book deal, writing a book, being successful in business, the English language, sentences. I've always struggled with the outcome of something that's so sort of subjective. Like, what is a weight bully? When people would use that word weight bully to me, I've never I've never once ever said anyone was a weight bully. I don't know. I know that it's used, it's very common use, but it's like, I mean, we have weight classes. If anything, if somebody is killing themselves to make weight, when I was like, as a young fighter, I would want to fight a weight bully, because then I'm looking, from a strength and conditioning side, from a nutritional side, I know that this dude is drained. I know that he's dehydrated. I know that he's not replenished. I know that I'm going to jump on him early. So like the idea of I think being a weight bully, it's a disadvantage. And I don't really think it's a thing either. I don't really adhere to the fact that being a weight bully is even a thing, because you make the choice as the fighter, how big you want to get outside of camp, how much you want to walk around at, what weight class you look great at. Very rarely you'll have in-betweeners, guys physically that kind of or maybe too small for this division, but too big for this division, and they're kind of like in between. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Only GK. The odds for main events this weekend are super wide. Both fights are much closer. Stevens and Lubin are being overlooked. I agree. I agree. Trying to bring up the screen. We're gonna bring up these odds real quick. Stevens lost split decision to Beck, and DFG lost to UD. Just saying. Yeah, but I mean, how guys? When you guys are betting your money, please tell me, guys. Please tell me that you're doing more work than this, just this, because I know I mean I know and Mankey just said a comment similar to this. Said that you know May Solomon lost a split decision against somebody he's never heard of, and now only GK saying Stevens lost a split decision and bet. Hopefully that's not what you're doing. I know these are part of the game. You know that should be maybe a small molecule of your of all of the work you're doing. And you got this is I want to say this off jump too. I hope there's nobody out there who's investing in me or investing, even if it's a couple bucks a month, and not at least doing a little bit of your own research. You know what I mean? Because you owe yourself that as well. Like, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach outside of this, right? So I'm passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about teaching people the technique of things, you know, from a back squat to a deadlift to how to throw a jab. So I'm very passionate about teaching. Now, with that being said, you guys, if we're betting our money, we should be passionate also about learning. So, you know, this should be looking at like doing triangle theories. He lost to this guy and they lost to this guy. Hopefully, you're not just using that to bet on. And then hopefully, you're not just listening to me. Because the last thing I want you to think, I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox or stand on a stand and say, I don't know shit. That's my mindset. And that's what keeps me grounded. I go into every fight thinking that I don't know anything. And I never tell you that I'm 100% right. I never tell you that this is a lock. I never tell you that this person's going to 100% win. All I know is the preparation I put into it. I trust in my process. So the film study, the research, my knowledge of the game, my understanding of how to fight, all this stuff. So I'm getting kind of worried when I'm getting comments like this. Like, hopefully we ain't out here doing triangle theories, betting our bank accounts. That's all I'm saying. I'll pick May for you guys. Yeah, she's awesome. Go follow May right now. May Solomon. MaiSolimon. She's awesome. The Pro Box car is fire, Julius. I'll catch up to everybody. Depth in the house. Guys, wherever you are, could you like this video and maybe keep me up to date on the score of the Skins game? Because I got a cheeky parlay working. I gave it to the boys. So I need how's Smith and let me know Smith and Jigba. How's he doing? I need some receiving yards. I think Darius learned a lot from the Beck fight. He did. In that it was a close fight, guys. Wasn't there a late knockdown? Did we watched that fight here? We streamed that live. Wasn't what did Darius get dropped late? And I think Darius got dropped late, and that kind of won Beck the fight. Because I debated Gary. It was one of the first times I went on Gary's channel. I debated him this fight. He took Darius Fulgham, and I took Beck. Oh, you're in Sydney? My man, we're in Sydney. Sydney Siders in the house. Let's go. Problem solving after getting punched in the face. That's right. That's boxing, right? Trisendar. Trisendar is okay. Yeah, dude, this guy, it's a good question, Julie. So I have a message from Chilltown from months ago. He was supposed to fight. Is this the same kid who came to Australia? Erdenbot. Didn't Erdenbot fight Mateo Tapia? Let me pull it up. My internet's acting suspicious, so I'm kind of relying on you guys today. I think Erdenbot fought Mateo Tapia. If I'm thinking about the same guy, there's so many names out there, guys. How do we keep everything? This kid's a dog, by the way. I wish he was more active. This kid's a freaking beast. My bad. I was thinking of Endry Savidra. God damn it. I was thinking of Endry Savidra. My bad. So Erdenbach. Oh, this is the kid. We covered him on the channel. 18 super feather, 13-0, 6 knockouts. We watched the fight with Galindo. Yeah, he fought in July against Humberto Galindo. Why? What are the odds? Are you tempted on these odds? Is he world level? It's tough, man. Look, I don't throw. I guess we all have a different. Definition of what world level is. You know, I throw world level around for like guys who fought for world titles, maybe world title eliminators, lost world titles, obviously former world champions. What's your thoughts on Ortiz Lubin? You know it's coming. You know it's coming, UMG. Come on out. And you know this is coming. Let's go. I got a lot of videos I'll be uploading this week. You boys keep me busy. What do you think of this parlay? Priest, Rob? I wish we got to see more Priest as well. Amari. Josh hold up. Is Josh fighting this weekend? That's that pro box card is fire. Am I getting odds on Josh? I'm not getting odds on it. I like it, man. So what's Erdenbot right now? Look, I don't want to lock anything in yet, Mankey, just for the sake of our system. I need I like it like to the optic. I probably won't be able to get to a few of those fights. The one that I'm really interested in is I want to tape Erdenbot. And then who's Akatsugi fighting? Astrolabia. That's a close fight, mate. So Akatsugi versus Astrolabia is a close fight. Good odds right now, too. I'm saying that Stevens gave Beck a closer fight than DFG. What do you stylistically though? We have a character limit. It's all good, GK. It's all good, bro. The last comment that, and I wasn't targeting you or Mankey. It was more of a talking point in my head that I wanted. That's over the last few months. You know what I mean? You just reminded me of something I wanted to bring up over the last few months about making sure that we're all like. I don't think that this is a microwave scenario or Discord. I don't think that there's any. I don't think there's no set. I don't believe in shortcuts. I've never been a guy who was into like cheating, interpersonal relationships, intimacy. I've never been a guy who was into performance enhancing drugs, so steroids. I've never been a guy. So my point is, my father was an immigrant from Czechoslovakia, right? He was a hard man. Didn't speak a lot, but he didn't have to. Big dude. And some of those values were work ethic over everything, effort over everything, and build your own path. Carve out your own path, no matter what, and focus on the effort. And so my point is, I only brought that up because it reminded me, like, there's no shortcuts. We had a couple boys in the Discord a couple weeks ago who were like crying because they couldn't win, and we find out that they were just tailing everybody's picks and not doing any tape. They don't watch the sport. Like, come on, guys, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to force feed or spoon feed everyone. We're creating a community of guys who love boxing. So I just want to, pretty much be sure and be clear that that's what I'm here for. Pat Brown looked ridiculous. Prospect of the year of 2025. Wouldn't you? I would say Josh Edwards. If Josh Edwards this weekend goes out and has another just electrifying performance, we've seen Josh 6 times this year. How many times did Josh fight this year? I might be hyping that up. I get excited. I might be hyping 6 up. This is a good, nice little American heavyweight prospect. That's his amateur record. He's fought 4 times. He's fought. We watch all of his fight. He's in a calendar year. This is almost his 5th fight, so I wasn't that far off. He premiered last August, so August of 24. No. 1, 2, yeah. not tripping. Guys, I'm tired, man. I've been up since 5 a.m. I'm tired. I think I was right. April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's his fifth. It's his fifth fight. Fulgham Stevens, actually both wrong weight class. Johnny, what's cracking? What's up, Randall Light in the house? I'm rocking with Stevens. Astrolabi Otigi is a toss up. Yeah, it's a good one. Raleigh is world level. Of course. What do we? Of course. He's a 2-division world champion. Yeah, that's the way I look at it, TB. TB underdog. Aren't you a producer? Is T? I'm pretty. Maybe don't you produce music out here? TB underdog. You might have to make me a beat. We can start doing our own little verses. We start turning this into a battle rap. But I'm a Raleigh fan, so on the conversation of who is world class, who is world level. If you're a world champion, former world champion, you're world level. You know what I mean? He's world champion at 40 and 47. It's going to be interesting how they move him. It's really interesting how they're moving Ryan. Ryan loses to Raleigh. Ryan cheats against Dev, loses to Raleigh, and walks into a world title shot against Mario. And I'm interested to see those odds. Because, I mean, they're in our little small network online. I hear other channels, and they just badmouth Barrios because, he's had kind of some interesting, yeah. But he's a world champion. Barrios is what, 6 feet tall? I'm never betting on Ryan Garcia, actually. People are like, Ryan Garcia would steamroll Barrios. You act like I'm going to bet $1 on Ryan Garcia? You guys are high. I would rather bet my money on Barrios just for the sake of, think about the discipline and the sacrifice it takes to even get to become a world champion. That alone, out of ethically alone, I would take Barrios. Okay, I want to see something real quick. I don't think it's official. Guys, we have so many good fights coming up, man. So these are the GAR, Andy Hiroka, Gary Antoine Russell. We know Vergil, Lubin's this week. AB's fighting Budawan. Are they putting up Mason Noakes, Bam versus Puma, Norman versus Haney? Let's go. People are sleeping on the Benavidez yard fight, too. I mean, I think Benavidez is just going to turn the volume up early. He should drown him early. That should be the game plan. Jai versus Sin Cara. I wish the Jai, the cruiserweight division was a little bit more how should we say, fruitful. Who you got between Tiger and Nick? I'm breaking this fight down. So my first upload after this video, guys, is going to be Mace Solomon versus Jazzy Parr. That's my Stats Don't Lie video. So if you guys are new to my channel, I do live streams every day. Check my shorts out. I'm doing a new short series, Unks versus the YNs. I don't know if you've seen any of those yet. Guys, by heart, I use humor, man. I think life should be funny. We should laugh. So I have a new short series called Unks vs. YNs. But in my playlist, the fight predictions, those are my edited, professionally shot. You don't see this side of me. In the Stats Don't Lie videos, I'm in the pocket. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, those are my prediction videos. I'm doing Mace Solomon versus Jazzy right now. And then I'm going to do Tiger versus Nick Flaz. And then I'm going to do David Stevens, Darius Fulgham. And then obviously Vergil and Lubin. I don't know which order, though. Those might be my 4. How do you rate Bob Santos as a coach, a legitimate boxing coach, in your opinion, or just a fit? Look, man, you have to be more. What do you guys? Coaching's hard at this stage of the game. He is a devoted his life to his craft. So if you really want to ask something more specific, ask that, because as a coach myself, I know how unheralding it is to be a coach. So I'm not gonna. If you want to ask something super specific, ask me something super specific. Do I think he's a legit coach? I think he's a legit coach. Julius, I got GAR over Hiroka. I think that's the move as well. And you know what, Julius? This is my take on GAR and Hiroka. And because you know damn well as this gets close, right? We're gonna get both sides. I'm an Andy Hiroka fan. I like his story. I like his fight style. I'm I'm a bigger Gary Antoine Russell fan. I'm a bigger Russell family fan, man. Gary Russell Jr. at one time for a window was one of my favorite fighters. Gary, dude, guys, don't trip. Go watch Gary Russell Jr. Watch his hands. You want to talk about world class hand speed, dude? Gary Russell Jr. The skills on him. Gary Antoine Russell is his little brother, and I always I guess admire or what's a little lesser emotional of an adjective. I always commend. I always commend the discipline in athletes. And so when I look at the Russell family, and I think it's a testament of their loyalty to their father. We know they're a fighting family. Antonio just fought. He fought for the first time in a while. And so did Russell Jr. He fought first fight in a few years. He looked good too. And the last time we saw GAR, he looked exceptional against Rayo. Now, people are going to say, to my point, when we're this is going to cause division on our channel and in our group, which this is why we like it, right? We don't want. How boring would it be if we all agreed? They're going to say, yeah, but GAR lost to Alberto Puello, and then Hiroka knocked out Jin Sasaki, and Sasaki still got the fight against Brian Norman Jr. And all these sort of things are going to happen. And I'm going to tell you, Hiroka's style is not Alberto Puello's style. Alberto Puello's style, that long, I think, Gary Antoine Russell underestimated how long Puello was going to be and how crafty he was going to be. I had GAR up 4-1 going into the fifth, and it almost looked like that. I think it was it looked like an energy issue. I don't want to say gas tank because that's me kind of questioning his preparation. That's not what I mean. It looked like that he dished out his energy. He didn't disperse it evenly throughout the fight. It looked like he thought he was going to get Puello out of there earlier, right? And then when it went past the six, Puello started winning rounds and doing what he does, and then all of a sudden it's a close ass fight. I still had Russell winning that fight. I gotta be honest with you. I was salty about that decision, a little bit salty, but either way, that's his loss. But then, Puello is a guy who uses the entire ring. You know what I mean? Puello's a guy who isn't going to stand right in front of you. He's going to tap, move. He's tricky, real tricky southpaw. He lateral movement right, lateral movement left, in, out, boom, 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 boom. It's constant. I like watching Puello fight. Like he's kind of like a nerd's. Like I'm a nerd about the sport. That's why I always say I liked watching Edwin De Los Santos for Shakur. I liked watching it because I'm a nerd. I like the cat and mouse game. I like watching a guy who's trying to literally kill another dude, a grown ass man, and the other dude is just fucking Shakur slick as fuck, not even getting touched, dude. Boy, let's go. I liked it. I liked that fight. I'm sorry, but Rayo Valenzuela, not Alberto Puello. Rayo Valenzuela, hopefully he gets back on the winning track. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. Talk about an overachiever. Talking about a kid who not a lot of pro fights, not a lot of people were talking about him. People were sleeping on him. He becomes a world champion, and then the belt turned over, and then he loses his. And GAR put belt to ass, dude. Anybody who watched that GAR Rayo fight, and maybe you could attest to this. When I look back at that fight, I still think GAR stopped him. That's how bad of an ass beating Rayo took. But no, GAR didn't stop him. But in my memory, I was like, oh yeah, GAR steamrolled him. It's because he won literally almost every moment of that fight. But Rayo, good, skilled, tough kid. And Andy Hiroka doesn't fight like Puello. Andy Hiroka is a Japanese fighter. What do we know? Hiroka is going to give the fight the GAR wants. He's going to fight him how he wants him to fight him. This is why it's interesting. Hiroka could crack, but I think GAR is special. I think his technique is special. I think he's cleaner. I think he's sharper. So we'll see. I'm catching up, guys. I talk a lot. I talk a lot. All these comments, I'll get to you. Bing, Jai needs to work on his promo. 100%. Bing, Jai. Hopefully, yeah. What can we say, right? Bing, what can we say? Haney is upset of the month. Ooh, Julius. Ooh. We're gonna have to get to that in a second. Yeah, Bob Santos certified. Salute. Random guy perspective. Lubin could upset Ortiz in a crazy upset. I think the odds are off, guys. Let's pull that up. You guys heard it from me. I've been saying this all month. I think these odds are super disrespectful. It's really hard if from a betting perspective, boys. How are you putting money on Vergil with these odds? Are you gonna just throw $1.13 on a parlay on a 6-leg and then what, $13 on 100? It's not the value. You would have to go Vergil to knock Lubin out. Now, Lubin got stopped twice. His only losses. 2017 against Charlo when he was 20. He was a baby. He might have been 21. And then a fight with Seb in which it was stopped for damage, but the scorecards were pretty much even in the 9th. And Lubin is the one who dropped Fundora in the 7th. Fundora drops Lubin in the 2nd. Lubin drops him in the 7th. Due to face swelling, the ref stopped in the 9th. That fight goes 12. Lubin beats Fundora. The whole landscape of 54 changes. And people are sleeping. People think Lubin's like this 30. Lubin just turned 30. There's a lot to like about Erickson Lubin in this matchup. Big 154. He'll be the biggest guy. I mean, he's going to be the biggest puncher Vergil's fought. Southpaw. Vergil doesn't have a lot of fights with Southpaws. Has he fought it? I don't think he's fought a Southpaw at 54. His last Southpaw, I think, was in 2021, maybe, against when he was at 47. I don't know, man. He's going to have to answer some questions with Lubin. Big puncher, Southpaw. He's going to be there to get hit, though. People are sleeping on Erickson Lubin. That's all I'm saying. The kid could crack. Eddie, Gary Russell, 100. Dude, when Gary Russell Jr. is cooking, he is a joy to watch from a pure boxing, palate. Nobody talks about that. Ortiz gets wild, edges cracked, he gets dropped against guys who like swinging in the pocket. That's what I'm saying, man. And I'm not just straight up jumping on the Vergil train. So much respect for the takes, fan. Appreciate you, Claymore. So much respect for everybody tapping in, guys. We're floating between 40 and 50 people on a Monday afternoon for me. Hopefully you give me a thumbs up wherever you are. Speak your truth out here, boy. If you guys are in the Discord, boys, come on. I put the link in the Discord. So Kiza, Julius, Mankey Crazy, if you guys want to come on and get some screen time. This is another thing about our Discord, gents. Whether you're new in the Discord or you've been here for a while, channel, this is our shit. I told you guys in the Discord, people were DMing me and wanting me to sort of govern a specific guy because they were talking out of pocket. I was like, boys, you govern them. I'll say it when but this is your Discord. I want to see Matias and G 100% Kiza. In Japan, Hiroka has never seen. True. Yes. This is a valid point. Why this is valid is because when I say Japanese style, what do we mean, boys? Stay there, front foot. Some of these guys aren't even Jin Sasaki didn't even jab to get in. You know what I mean? For a guy who is known for being a puncher and wants to punch with you, this is how keen the Japanese slugging style is these days in this era. They won't even jab to get in the front door. These guys will just come in, hooks in, and we've been eating. Guys, if trends are going to continue this way, with really excluding Inoue up until this point, and I'm not talking about Junto either. I look at Junto almost like a Mexican fighter, considering who he trains with and how he's cut his teeth. But excluding Inoue, if trends are going to stay on point, Hiroka Japanese slugger going up against a slugging GAR. I like GAR by knockout. That would be the move. I mean, Norman Jr. versus Sasaki. I don't understand why people underrate that victory, man. People are looking at Brian and what they're doing is they're dissecting and they're finding all these sort of weird flaws, talking about Santillan, Santillan. What dude said? No one wanted to fight Gio. Gio had just beaten Roca, was it Rocha? And no one wanted to fight Santillan. Santillan was the favorite in that fight. He was the underdog against Rocha. Underdog beats him, gets the fight against Norman, was the favorite. So Norman goes into that fight as the underdog. We know what happened in that fight. Gio is a good ass fighter, mate. And then go check our receipts. Go check my breakdown of Derek Cuevas versus Brian Norman Jr. And in that Stats Zone Live video, I played a clip from YSN, old mate, Greg Hackett and the boys in Philly, from when they were all saying Derek Cuevas could crack. Brian's never fought a puncher like Cuevas. I think up until that moment, Cuevas had never been stopped. He was a 6-1 dog. People were sprinkling on Cuevas. I was like, hell, what are you not seeing that I'm seeing? Like, I'm watching a Brian Norman Jr. fighter who when he was fight right before the Cuevas fight, I think Brian was 22. And I'm watching a guy that every fight as a 22-year-old, he's getting better. And in my breakdown time, I'm like, as soon as he gets a little more patient with his entries, as soon as he learns to tighten shit up, because we've seen him dropped before, we've seen him buzzed before. Cuevas stunned him, I think, at the end of the second, didn't drop him. If you slow-mo it, he kind of. But these are lessons you learn. This isn't necessarily a skill thing. This is more like a tactical thing. As you get more deeper in the game, is your approach and how you're entering. And I was like, that shit he's gonna work on. And then, he stops Cuevas, gets the Jin Sasaki fight. Sasaki at the time, I think, was 26-1 with like a 90% knockout to win ratio. Sasaki's only loss was to Andy Hiroka. And I was like, bro, you're giving me Brian Norman Jr. We got him at what? 325 by knockout. I was like, that's the move, dude. People were saying he was going to lose to Sasaki. And then when he knocks out Jin Sasaki, what does everybody do? They move the goal. They keep moving those goalposts. Moving those goalposts far away. And this is boxing. They did it with they've done it with Ennis. They did it with Bud his entire career up until the EJ fight. And so we're used to it, but at the same time, Brian's only 24. He's not even near his physical prime. And when you look how devoted he is to the game, he doesn't give a shit about social media. You're not going to see him doing like, guess my favorite countdown movies, or here's my Lamborghini car. It's like, no, this dude he got his lunch pail, he got his bag, he got his hand wraps. He's traveling to other countries, had to take all these fights in Mexico, went to Japan to fight Sasaki. Kameda and the boys in the Japan fight, they thought Sasaki was going to win that fight. There was a lot of people who thought Norman Jr., and still to this, I think Norman Jr. steamrolls Deb. I do. And like I said, Coach Bermudez, if you're on here, I apologize. Coach Bermudez is our guy. He's the Coach Bermudez, famous in the boxing game. He has a lot of really good fighters, as world contender fighters. On our live stream yesterday, he was like, Johnny, man, why don't you like Dev? I was like, it's not that I don't like Dev. I'm really high on Brian Norman Jr. I like the work ethic. He reminds me of a young, smaller Joe Frazier. Even how his willingness to fight you. That's a throwback fighter. Like, and this is a great segue for my next point. All of you guys who thought that Zach Parker beat last night in England Joshua Buatsi, you guys are smoking dope. Like, this is a blood sport. This is boxing. We want to fight. We want to fight. We don't want to negatively fight you and try to get one over on the scorecards and it's a thinking man sport. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the blood and guts of the sport, the heartbeat of the sport, we are in a fucking fight. We're not running. Like, the idea that they would have given that fight to Zach Parker for doing absolutely nothing, that actually left me thinking, like, there is still hope in our sport. Thank God these judges didn't award that bullshit. That's not boxing. And that wasn't what Shakur was doing against De Los Santos either. Because at least Shakur used the entire ring, and he was countering, and he did it with way more class. He wasn't on the canvas at all. How many times did Zach Parker hit the canvas? 6 times? And it was evident. That was his game plan, too. That's even more shocking. So we're going to train all fight camp to beat Joshua Buatsi, who's not a fast guy, who doesn't have good feet, who's slow, who's lethargic he's very uninspired. This isn't the Josh Buatsi in the Olympics. So why wouldn't the game plan be to Parker had better hand speed, was quicker. Why? Better feet. Why wouldn't it be to point him and then out angle him and then clinch and counter and then out angle? Why was it to, back up, get Josh coming in, when he throws, you drop a level, and then if you clinch, you drop to a knee? Or if you drown his work and then exit on the out. Like, it was a horrible game plan. Awful game plan. I need to talk to his coaches, Zach Parker. That's damn, guy. I apologize for not getting to all these comments. Guys, a good way to get to the comments, super chat. I ain't get no super chats today. What the hell? That's crazy. We ate. We was out here eating. Dude, we ate in the Philippines. We was eating Filipino food. We was out here eating in Canada. We definitely were eating in the UK. I ain't get $1 super chat, man. Y'all suspect. Kiza, I'm in the Eddie camp. Bing. All right, let's see. Let's get back on track. You boys got me ran. Guys, wherever you are, could you like this video? Could you sub? Any way you help. Any way you can support me, it helps. The super chat thing was a bit of a joke. Bit truth to it, though. But $1. First one to give me $1. Pump up. Kidding. I don't know any fight with Haney on it. I feel uneasy. What is okay, history? Does somebody want to sell me on Devin? Does somebody want to sell me on Dev? I'm not a Devin hater, guys. I'm not. It's not like Devin's only 26. The kid has had a stellar career. Look at his resume at 26. Look at the wins he has on his resume. Look what he's done. He's a 26-year-old. I'm 43, so I can say this. He's a kid. He's done so much in the sport already, and he's always in shape. So a lot of the things I said about Brian Norman Jr., you could literally say the same about Dev. He had to take all those fights when he was younger in Mexico. I mean, he shared the ring with Hall of Famers. Obviously, the resume is you're gonna side with Dev. The high level experience with Dev, all of that. It's just that I hope that we can live in a world in our boxing space, this little area of YouTube that we're all in, this tiny ass little corner of the world of YouTube world, that we could say that a fighter's going to lose and not be called out by having to be a hater. Like, me saying Brian Norman is going to beat Dev and probably stop him shouldn't be followed with, you're just a Devin hater. No, if I'm giving you a game plan, I'm giving you tactics. I see Norman jumping on Haney early. I see Norman playing Haney's game early. And the game plan I would go about it is, and both camps are kind of secretive, in terms of they don't like giving too much away, which is fine. But if I was the Norman camp, what Dev was going to want to do. Dev's going to want to use his feet. He's going to want to use his speed. But his feet, like, people are saying, his footwork isn't mastery. When you look at Haney's footwork, you don't think fluidity and motion. You know what I mean? You don't think this smooth angling, like butter sort of thing. You just know, you see an athletic guy who has quick feet. It's not like this masterpiece with his feet. His hands are really fast too. When he's cooking, like I think he landed that 1-2 he landed. It's so crazy. I have to say this. I think he landed it once against Ramirez. It was in like the 3rd or 4th round. Ramirez couldn't cut the ring off. Dev is circling to the right, lateral movement to the right, and then it's the one angle Ramirez thought he had, and Dev just pop, gorgeous. Like when Haney, when he puts it together, man, he's fucking world class. It's that, you guys know that. But I think Norman is going to match him early with the movement. And I think that if Norman can negate that movement, I'm not talking, hurt him and then, make him stop moving. I'm talking about as Dev circles, Norman circles. As Dev tries to cut the ring off, Norman like sort of match and mirror him early on to kind of let him know, at least psychologically, he's not faster than him. And he's going to have to force, he's going to be like, hey, there's going to be moments in this fight where you're going to have to punch with me. Norman shouldn't rush the exchanges. He should be patient with punching with him and make Devin understand. I don't think, it's necessarily like being able to domesticate Devin, but you got to get in, you got to make him think that, because everyone's thinking Norman's going to try to bully him and outpunch him. Devin might be the bigger dude. Norman's not a big 147. You know what I mean? When I talked about in-betweeners, Norman Jr. is a perfect example of a guy, kind of an in-between guy. Not a big dude, frame either. He's kind of like maybe perfect for 47. I don't see him going to 54. I've never met him. I don't know what he walks around at, but I've seen Devin walk around like 175 before 180. Devin, when he, there's some footage of him after the Garcia fight. I don't know if it was through depression. He was looking massive. So I've never seen Norman look that big. And all in all, that would be my game plan. I think that Norman Jr. matches his sort of feints, matches his footwork, matches his speed. There'll probably be a jab feeling out process. I think Norman, if he's smart, would bait Devin into punching with him, and I think Norman could hurt him. I'm catching up. I apologize, guys, if I can't get to all these. What's up, Tyler? What's up, Kiza? What's up, Bing? History Vault. Mike D in the house. Hey, Johnny. I know this fight's a long way off. I'll give my 2 cents. Mike D. Hey, hi, Johnny. I know this fight's a long way off. Do you have it? My initial thoughts is poor Mike Zarafa, man. I thought Mick would get. This should have been the Tim Tszyu fight, and this is the corruption in Aussie politics. This is the corruption in Aussie boxing. Michael Zarafa has cut his teeth domestically and internationally. Zarafa should be getting the Tim Tszyu fight. It's erroneous. It's comical that he's fighting Nikita. It's, I feel bad for Zarafa, to put it this way. Good on. I'm a fan of Nikita. If you didn't know, I love Aussie boxing. I might not have an Australian accent, but I've been here since 2013. I go to all the fights if they're in Sydney, and big fan of Nikita. Another guy overachiever. You know what I mean? Picked up the sport late. We know his pedigree's world class. We know his pops. We know his brother. But Zarafa, man, he's a real pro. Zarafa's a real pro. And I think he gets judged for getting stopped early against Lara. Fought for a world title, didn't go his way. You would think that this would be Michael Zarafa versus Tim Tszyu, not Michael Zarafa versus Nikita Tszyu. But that's that. We'll see. We'll see how those odds look. If the fight is legit, Norman by knockout. If the fight is legit, uh-oh. What are we talking about? Make you crazy. So we covered Elvis Rodriguez versus Landolfo Delgado. We got to remember, man, that was a very close decision. I think we had it was Elvis who did Elvis win that fight? I break down so many of these fights. This is up on my channel. Yeah, Landolfo won a very close decision, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, Landolfo won. We picked Landolfo to beat Elvis. It was a close fight. I thought Landolfo did enough. Galo Valenzuela, did you guys watch his last fight? It was so bizarre. Galo Valenzuela fought in March last year and got knocked out. And then took a fight in May in Tijuana. It was like a 6-rounder, 8-rounder. And looked absolutely horrible and got gifted a decision. He got gifted a decision against a kid from TJ. Yeah, Manny Barrera. Yeah, this is what happened. Subaru Matias knocks out Galazzo in March. He then takes a rebound. He got knocked the out too. Then takes a rebound fight 8 weeks later in TJ against a 7-3 domestic kid. But, it's a testament to the Mexicans, man. You can walk down the streets in TJ, Sinaloa, Rosarito Beach, and you can find kids who've probably been fighting their entire life. And this kid was like a 10-1 dog. And Gabriel Valenzuela looked like he was 82 years old. It was hard to watch because here's why. Our bodies, our brains, our brain is the command center for our central nervous system. CNS, when you hear, nutritionists or fitness nerds talk about, and I use that's a term of endearment. I'm a fitness nerd. CNS, central nervous system. So our central nervous system is, responsible for pretty much everything functionally, from our energy levels to our movement patterns, to our decision-making processes, to our reactions, our timing, our speed, and scientifically proven through research, head trauma, consistent head trauma, repetitive, bots to the head, it over time disintegrates our central nervous system, okay? You could see that in a long-term example with like a fighter who, has brain damage. Unfortunately, just Google one. There's a lot of examples. It sucks. But in a short term, if you've ever been friends with fighters, or if you've ever been knocked out yourself, or have had friends who've been knocked out in a fight, you could see it. You could see it. And then what happens is it kind of woes away. And you kind of feel that you get back to where you were before you got knocked out. But Galazzo didn't. So he takes that fight 8 weeks later in Mexico and got his ass beat. And they gave him a decision. There is no, I can't believe he has this fight. He should be a massive, his handler should go to prison. Whoever let him fight after the Subaru Matias knockout 7 weeks later should go to prison. That's what's bad with the sport. That's what's wrong with our sport. Shit like that. Because so much for fighter safety. So, dude, go watch that fight if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go watch Gabriel Valenzuela's last fight. You're gonna be like, what the? And then do your work and research and fact check what I just told you. And be like, how the fuck is he? He just got knocked the fuck out against Matias. Why is he fighting? I mean, we need money. Fuck. But there comes a time where your handlers have to be like, bro, you're in your early 30s, you're in your late 20s, whatever it is. You have a whole life. We wanted to see you when you're 70. You have a whole life. We want you help. No, they're like, nope, motherfucker, you got knocked out, boy. We gonna put you in again. You gonna be all right. He looked horrible. So that's all I'm saying. Let me see where we are. A lot of comments. Yeah, it's. I can't believe he got the Lindolfo fight. Lindolfo's a dog. Do you see Zarafa winning? I don't know yet. Kiza, I've never seen Matias feel bad for somebody putting a beating on during the fight. It was hard. It was hard to watch, man. Guys, 50 of the boys in here. We're about an hour, and I appreciate the support, guys. The channel's growing. The Discord's growing. Our wallets are growing. Let's go. I just threw that in as a joke. The goal here is to learn, to have fun, to spread the word of boxing. I like the debate too. I didn't realize I would like the back and forth debate. We don't always have to agree with everyone, right? As long as we do it the right way. No one's talking shit. No one's being lazy and an unintellectual and talking about people's moms and shit. None of that. Fighter of the year, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna wrap it up, man. I'm a bit tired, dude. I've been up since 5. I still got 2 more sessions. I got 2 more clients. I have a client at 5 p.m. and a client at 5:45 p.m. I'm old too, man. I'm 43. I'm gonna be in bed tonight at 7:30. I got 2 live streams tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, I say thank you. Hit subscribe. I go live every day. My first Stats Don't Lie video will be uploaded tonight. May Solomon versus Jazzy Parr. So hit the notifications button. I guess on my YouTube channel, by my name, there's like a star. I'm learning all this shit. I guess there's a star or like a tool thing, and you get hit notification. I've been told to tell you to do that. I don't know why to do that. I'm acting like I know why. They were like, Johnny, tell your live stream to hit notifications. All right, I was like, I'll do it. You're already an hour in, boys. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys are dope.